And this morning we have with us to kick off events. We have Dr. Michael Johnson. Dr. Johnson is the interim associate provost for faculty success and interim associate vice president for faculty affairs. He's also a professor in the Department of Engineering and Technology and Industrial Distribution. And we're very glad to have Dr. Johnson with us today to talk a little bit about his overview of campus here at A&M.
All right, wonderful. Hopefully this is picking up okay. Oh, no, I got it. Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. I'll jump right in. So our students come to us with a lot of experience using learning management systems. The vast majority of them use the learning management system in high school for all of their courses, the same learning management system. A lot of them have been using learning management systems even before then, in junior high, intermediate school. So they have a lot of experience with these systems. They have a lot of experience with having the ability to look at the LMS and see what is due, see where they stand in all of their courses. And so they come to Texas A&M and are expecting at least that. And so hopefully what we can do, oh, okay, I'll switch. All right. So hopefully what we can do is make sure that that transition is seamless by effectively using our learning management system here at Texas A&M. So helping our students requires effective use of the LMS. And there are several things that you can do as an instructor to facilitate that. One of the things that I think gets talked about a lot, and rightfully so, is properly setting up the grade book. And again, students, no matter what you tell them, are going to assume that what grade is shown in Canvas is real time and true. So if it shows they have a 79.9 in Canvas, then they're thinking they're going to get a B. If it shows they have a 70.00, they're going to skim across that C. Now you might come back and say, oh, well, I haven't entered all the information, or I didn't actually weight these various assignments correctly. But what they're really doing is they're maximizing their effort, their time, and they're optimizing their behavior on the basis of the information they have, which is that graded in Canvas. So you want to really make sure that you provide timely feedback, updating those grades very quickly. Canvas also makes it very easy to provide low stakes feedback. So 1, 2 sample question quizzes, things that can be automatically graded, things like discussion boards where they can answer questions or pose questions. So all these things can be automated. And there are a lot of great tools that you will learn about both today and tomorrow that you can use Canvas to help our students learn. And again, that's really the key, is providing them with an opportunity to learn. The more information that you store in Canvas, whether it's the calendar, reminders, any types of assignments, anything that you can do there is easier for our students and it's easier for you. So handing out 100 papers in a classroom like this, something I've done, takes out probably 2 or 3 minutes minimum out of your ability to instruct our students. Better to take that time, post it on Canvas, and have them get it there. And then you don't have the student that was absent that day coming back to you and saying, hey, can I get a copy of that handout? Better to just do it online, get Canvas. One of the things that someone in what was previously ITS told me, and I'll never forget this, was that one of the key things that students complain about with respect to faculty, and they complain about it to department heads, they complain about it in student evaluation, is disorganized information in the LMS. So if you just throw all the files into the system, regardless of what type they are, students don't like that. So take some time and organize the information you put into the LMS appropriately, because then the students will perceive you as being an organized instructor. Students will perceive you as caring about the class. And so something as a little bit of organization and thought can be hugely beneficial to you. One of the things that is on the schedule is how to import things from previous instances of your class, how to share different things across Canvas sessions. And so I want to reiterate that the investment that you make in your course, in setting it up in Canvas, setting it up to be student-centered, and setting it up to be efficient, pays dividends. You do this now, and then you won't have to do it again next semester. You won't have to do it again in the future. When you take some of this information and carry it forward in other instances. I was talking to an instructor who took some time to put together hundreds of questions for a question bank. And so they were saying, yes, it took a lot of time, but now when they do assessments, they just add a handful of questions because there's so many questions in their question bank. They're giving every student a customized assessment. They don't have to worry about cheating. They don't have to worry about who's sitting next to whom or how things are working. They can just do that, and it's auto graded. Students get feedback. They can take that data, look at it by question, run any type of statistical analysis they want to on it to see where students are not learning particular concepts. So again, making that investment case. Students care about grades. Students care a lot about grades. Canvas is the best sanctioned way to share information about grades with students, assuming that the grade book is properly maintained and organized. So I remember when the instructor used to hand the box of homework around. You cannot do that anymore. I remember when we used to just take the list of everybody's name and their scores and grades on the door. Again, not acceptable. We have further requirements. If you set up your grade book in Canvas correctly, students can see their grades, and it will save you a lot of time and effort with respect to dealing with those types of things. Canvas also allows you to communicate effectively with students. So I don't know how many of you are teaching really large classes, but if you are getting emails in your Texas A&M email account from students about the class, they can get lost. You can organize that in Canvas, have a discussion where you can easily track those emails and work with communicating with your students. Now, this is a great opportunity for you to learn more about Canvas, learn more about teaching here at Texas A&M, regardless of what type of class you're teaching. But the Center for Teaching Excellence offers a lot of great programming that can help you improve your teaching, regardless of whether it's online, in person, graduate, undergraduate. So I would definitely get everybody. Yeah. Okay. So make sure you take into account some of these things that CTE offers. And again, Canvas support is now part of the Center for Teaching Excellence, not the technical support, but the learning support. And I want to bring back this point, because this is one of the key things that was at the heart of merging some of the LMS instructional aspects into the Center for Teaching Excellence. If you can marry the technology with evidence-based pedagogy, you will be a much more effective instructor. That is a powerful use of two very important tools. It will make you an efficient instructor. It will make you someone that can definitely help our students. And this is something that our executive director for the Center for Teaching Excellence came up with. You are the key to student success. This is one of the things that, as someone who is very focused on faculty success wants to reiterate to all of you, being a successful faculty member means that you have successful students. You're an educational institution, and I can say with a fair amount of confidence that everybody in the administration wants you to be effective instructors, because that is how our students will be successful. And so again, using Canvas effectively will help you be more efficient. It will help you better educate our students. And with that, I am open to take some questions, and if anyone has any or anything that people are interested in knowing. That goes to people online. I think pretty monitoring just getting. You gotta wait unless you can give stuff, then giving that vibe. All right. Well, then thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you taking time out of your last couple of weeks of summer here to come make yourself better instructors here today for Learning Expo. So enjoy the day. Thank you very much.
All right, welcome back. It is 9, so we are going to go ahead and get started with the first session. We worked on the audio during the break, so those of you that are online, if you have any issues with the audio, please let me know. Leading the session for us will be Tammy Frank from the Vet School, and Sally Hughes from the Center for Teaching Excellence will be assisting and moderating, and Carlos Perez, also from the Center for Teaching Excellence, create a presentation. So those of you that are in the room, they will be happy to help. If you have any questions, they can assist as needed. But with that, I will turn it over.
All right, howdy. So I am Dr. Frank, and I am from the School of Veterinary Medicine. And I teach both undergraduate professional students and graduate students. I go from small classes to really large classes that have about 180 students in it. And so I manage quite a bit. I'm tasked with talking about how you integrate your syllabus into the Canvas course. All right, so there are a couple of different buttons that are in Canvas that show your syllabus. So one of the things we're going to go through is what those two different buttons actually are, and then kind of go through getting your syllabus actually into Canvas. All right, so first I kind of like to start with a little bit of how do you all share your syllabus with your students right now? This is where someone else talks.
Look up Canvas.
She gave me your mic, so those online can hear.
I just use the look up Canvas link, look on the homepage to link to the syllabus page, and of course print that page to post now.
Others? Okay. Anybody do something different? Online, anybody say anything? It's too early, right? All right, so for me, I kind of do all of the above. So I do incorporate mine into Canvas under that syllabus button. I do actually use the other button as a placeholder for me to send you to the right place, because it's not one that's particularly helpful for students. And then I also will actually print out and hand out my syllabus to my students as well as the first day of class. Because for me, my syllabus is my contract with the students and how they behave. And I want them to, anytime that they go looking for it, I want them to be able to have it, whether that's a print copy that I handed them and they kept, whether it's in Canvas or whether they go to Howdy. I want them to be able to find that syllabus wherever, however they try to find it when they, the first time that they look. So I don't want them struggling to find how to get to the syllabus in any way. Alright, so the handy thing about Canvas is it's a one place, one stop shop for students to find all of the content in your course. And that includes the syllabus. And if you're using Canvas fairly regularly, it usually is that first place that students are going to go and try to find that syllabus that's actually in there. There are two places or two ways to kind of get your syllabus into Canvas. The easiest one is the button that comes with the home template when they set up your first course. There's a button that's on that home page that says syllabus. And that's the one that's easy to actually really use. It's already kind of formatted and set up for you to actually use all of those minimum syllabus requirements that are actually required by the university and set up through the faculty senate. From that, from that page, it has all of the things, and you can get into it kind of one of two ways, but it has all of the little links and stuff that goes if you ever have opened the minimum syllabus thing that's on the faculty senate page. If you open that, it has all of these things and all the instructions for all of the different pieces and parts, and that exact same thing is what's mirrored in Canvas on that under that syllabus button. And so that you can just go in and you can put in your content for how you actually do that on that page. So you can edit that. On the sidebar menu, if you scroll down and look through that sidebar menu on a Canvas page, there is a button that says syllabus. Okay, that's different. It doesn't actually go to the same page from the button that's on the home page. It is a blank page, so if you click on it, it is blank. It is default set to be hidden so that students don't actually see it, but you do. And so for the students, it kind of creates confusion if you open it up so that they can actually see it. So generally, it's kind of easy. It's just to keep that blank. And then the only person that has to remember is you. And so it just it's basically a blank page that's actually in there. So using just that syllabus button, there are two ways to get your syllabus, two main ways to kind of get your syllabus into Canvas. One is just editing the syllabus that's there, the format that's there. So that main syllabus button on the home page, you edit that to match what you want for your syllabus. The other one is to basically create your syllabus offline in something like Word or something like a PDF, and then upload that to that page. That was a little more complicated. If you have things like tables, those don't actually always import very well. Sometimes they will, their spacing and their timing will get off a little bit, and it won't look the way that you want it to look, as opposed to you doing it yourself and putting the steps in. All right. So, any questions so far? All right, so when it comes to editing that syllabus template to the syllabus button that's on the home page, that's kind of the easiest way to actually do that. So when you click on that syllabus button you have in your Canvas course, that syllabus button is going to open up basically a default syllabus that is going to show kind of all the different steps. So the first part is that course information, the instructor details, and then it goes through all the rest of the little steps. For an actual course in that minimum syllabus requirement. And so when you're there, you're going to click on the button that's in that top right hand corner that is edit. That will allow you to edit that and actually change all of those things. And then from there, you're going to just start editing in that template. And so, so it's got that basic information that's in there. You're going to fill that out and edit the template with your particular course information. Those of you who have already done this, what are some of the ways that you've gone about sort of editing that information? How have you put your content in?
Usually a copy of the previous syllabus from my last Canvas class for that type of class, and go through and modify upon the section that we discussed what's happening each week. I create a master table outside of Canvas and then copy and paste that table into.
I actually I have a question regarding this part of this, as she said, I just import for previous semesters. But how can we double check that there's not been any changes to the minimum requirements that we would need to edit?
So the easy thing to do as far as checking for minimum syllabus requirements and whether the edit is go to the Faculty Senate webpage. So it's like facultysenate.taylor.edu. Go to their webpage and then kind of about halfway down that page there, or towards the bottom, there is minimum syllabus requirements. You just go there, check that, and make sure that that is updated if you're working offline. In Canvas, it will be updated to what the newer requirements are. Unless something comes out really late.
But I'm not starting with the template.
Oh, yeah, you're not starting with template, yeah. So then going to Faculty Senate's webpage, looking through and making sure that everything still matches up with what's there. The biggest thing to check are things like the phone numbers and things like that that go with who do you contact for Title I, who do you contact for disability resources, those types of information.
Just a couple of comments from the chat here. First of all, one copy and paste and freehand as far as editing what is there, and someone pointed out that the syllabus page itself will eventually show all the assignments that are created in Canvas, so that can either be handy, or if the due dates aren't there, it could be an issue. And then someone asked to repeat the questions for online, so which we will do. The mic is going around. I will do a better job of that, so my apologies for that, Kristen. But thanks everyone who is contributing online as well.
So for me, I can finally get my page open. This happens to be one of my syllabus pages, or one of my Canvas pages. And so for me, I do a bit of copy paste. So I usually work with my syllabus offline, and then I copy and paste the sections in. And I do change the formatting a little bit because I just like it to look a little different. But all of the information is still there and still exactly where the students expected. I don't move that information around. For the standpoint of things like tables and stuff like that, I found that those don't import well. And so it's often better to just put those in sort of individually and build those tables in Canvas itself. So it's the only thing I actually build in Canvas when I make mine. So for me, I have my little classes. My classes tend to be complicated. They have both lectures and labs. And so this is actually set up in a table. Even though you can't see the lines, I've hidden all the lines. But so everything stays in nice neat columns. And then for me, on the course schedule, when I get down there, roll down. So the course schedule, again, I set up a table, and this is set up in Canvas itself. Just adding lines and then merging cells to get things to line up the way that I want them to line up in an actual Canvas, so that so students can actually see sort of that weekly schedule. Like I said, my classes are a little complicated in that I have lecture and I have lab, and they have things like pages that they have to get through in the lab. So all of that's in my little calendar here for the students to actually see. Okay. So other questions, other thoughts on editing and creating that content in your syllabus?
So I heard about merging sections, and I'm wondering what merging sections does to the syllabi. Got one.
I believe there's a session on merging sections. We're going to do a session on merging course sections right after this, and we encourage you to not edit your Canvas shell before you merge, because all of that will be lost. Yes, I was going to say I do have a class. I do teach a class that is a merge section, and you want to merge everything before you start working on your Canvas page, and that includes the syllabus. And so, because yes, as soon as you merge it, it's a whole new shell, and then you don't have to start over. So don't work on it till you merge them. It's the bottom line there. Other questions? All right. The other way to get stuff uploaded into that Canvas page, is to upload an existing syllabus. So you create your syllabus offline, and then upload it to that syllabus button page that's on the home page. And so when you do that, you want to be sure to go and grab the newest version of the minimum syllabus requirements off of the Faculty Senate homepage. Right? And then once you're there, let me get back to losing that. That was a little frightening. We all wait now. All right, so uploading that existing document. You're still gonna go to the home page, you're still gonna go to that syllabus button. You're still gonna click that edit button. But then you're gonna delete all of the information in that page, because you want all of that information to go away, because you're gonna replace it with a different file. So you delete all of the stuff that's actually there. Then from there, you're going to upload a syllabus that you've created offline. Okay, and so from there, you're gonna actually hit that. You'll have this little option to upload a document. You'll upload that document. And then upload the document, and then from the standpoint of, you'll click on the options for that actual document and the link options. And then you're gonna preview it in line so that it shows up not as just like a link to a file, it shows up as the actual document itself. And then go ahead and save that. And then when you're done, you should end up with a file that looks like the file that you uploaded. That's when you click on that actual page. And so there, like I said, when you import things, sometimes things get a little wonky on the import, and don't always line up the way that you like to when you look at it in Canvas. Which is why it's a little less reliable unless all your syllabus is just like words. You know, if you have tables and things like that, it's a little harder to get this to be happy when you make a syllabus. So questions on that version? Hold on, I actually get a briefing like.
So what's the relationship between the class coasters and where the class coaster
So the one that's in Howdy versus, can you repeat the question? Oh, okay, so the question is, what's the difference between the one that's for cross roster and the one that's in Canvas? So is that, you mean the one that's in Howdy, the one that you put in Howdy? So you basically have to upload your syllabus in two places. Because they're not linked to one another. So you want to do some version of, you put that your syllabus in Howdy, and you're also putting it in Canvas. There are some steps for you if you're creating your syllabus in Canvas to basically then save a PDF of that syllabus that you have in Canvas that then you can use to then upload into Howdy. Other questions? So once you actually create that syllabus in there, you're gonna leave that page, come back, and then double check it and see how it loads and how it looks. So you want to hit that button to see how that actually looks. I didn't put the timer. Is that the timer, CJ? Okay. So the last step, which is the one we kind of already just answered, is getting that syllabus uploaded into Howdy. And so, especially for those of you that just created in Canvas itself, and so you don't have an offline version, you want to then create a PDF because you need a PDF to upload to Howdy. Howdy won't accept other file types. So you're going to, you can do that through Canvas. That's up. There we go. That's it, yeah. So once you have your syllabus in Canvas, it's done, you're happy with it, and it's ready to go into Howdy. You basically go to that syllabus button, that syllabus page. You hit Control key for Windows, and then the Command key for the Macs. And then you're going to select to save it as a PDF, or open it as a PDF, whatever, whichever, so that you ultimately save it as a PDF. And then you're going to download that version. So you create that PDF, you'll download it, and then you can go log into Howdy and upload that into Howdy itself. So you have to go to your course. So you do have to, they don't talk to each other, at least not yet. I don't know if there's plans to make them talk to each other. But you do have to go and then actually upload it manually into Howdy as well. I don't know what that is, just. I can say what that is. Okay, so on the screen, you see an opportunity to enroll in the new Campus Essentials course for new faculty. You can use the link if you downloaded this file, or you can use the QR code in order to join or register to join. Don't forget, there's lots of resources related to doing your syllabus in both systems as well within this community. And I'll just share one last little trick that I do. So we mentioned that this syllabus button that's on the left-hand side of the screen, the left-hand menu panel, is not one where you really want your syllabus for your students. And so I did it in this course. No, I didn't. I know when I first started, I was really, really bad about clicking on that button. It's like, oh, that's where my syllabus is, and then it wouldn't be there. So I created a link on that page. If I start doing that, I create a link on that page that goes to the home page. That way, if I inadvertently open that so that I don't get confused, I don't just put my syllabus there. I just put a link to that home page in that little window, so that, because I can't make that bar go away. I still see it. The students don't. It's hidden from them, so they don't get confused. And so I don't get confused as an instructor. I don't put my syllabus there. And what I do is I put a link to that home page button for the syllabus to make that just a little clearer for myself.